up, guys? It's Sky. I got a Magblade build video for you guys today. I've been playing a bit of Magblade just because I've been having to play solo a bit more. You know, the game's not super populated right now. It tends to die down before a bunch of big changes or a big chapter. Just kind of been my experience with ESO over the years I've played. So, you know, people are playing around with other stuff. So I've been playing solo. So I've been playing Magblade. I don't know like how many of people who watch my videos actually like have watched a lot of my videos and like know what classes I play more or less, but basically I played Magblade on PvE for a long time. I played Magblade, I got Immortal Redeemer on it. I've done most PvE content on Magblade. It's one of my favorite classes, but I'm not the best PvPer on it, even though I have some pretty good clips, you know, if you look on my channel. And I did a build video a few patches ago, I think Scale Breaker maybe, basically last mid-year mayhem. I did a build video for Magblade, but unfortunately because of the changes to Healing Ward, that build is no longer viable, so I wanted to put out a new Magblade build that uses a couple familiar sets and a couple new sets, or not new sets, but sets that have been recently updated. So this build, it has a good amount of healing. It's pretty tanky for a light armor Magblade, and it has just enough damage. It's also got some really good sustain, but that's mostly because we're a Breton. So anyways, we'll jump into the gear here. I'll show you guys what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Zon. I've always ran Zon on Magblade. I feel like it's just a really good set. You can run Blood Spawn, but I just like how you can, when Zon procs, you can fear a target to lock them down in it, and do the rest of your combo, and it just adds some passive pressure. Like, there's not a lot of ways to add pressure to your damage right now because dots have been so severely nerfed, but Magblade can still take advantage of that stuff with like Soul Harvest, and Debilitate, and constantly fearing someone, and then we add Zon on top of that. I feel like we can add some good pressure and just kind of be a really good duelist or really good at 1v2s and stuff. I'm running Swift on the body. I'm running 5 light Swift on the body, only comes in light. I'm running 1 medium, 1 heavy on the Zon. I'm running full impen. I'm running Prismats on all 3 big pieces, and then I'm running 2 Prismats on the small pieces and 3 Prismats. So just 1 Magicka enchant. Run 1 Magicka enchant on a small piece, and you'll have the same stats as me. We do that so that we can have a lot of health and so that we can have a lot of stamina. Having more health is just really nice for this patch because there's a lot of like little desyncs and little lag spikes when you're fighting in Cyrodiil. It is what it is. So I've been running a little more health than normal. Same with stamina. We got a little extra stam there. I'm running Scathing on the jewelry, 3 arcane, and I'm running a sharpened Inferno staff of Scathing Mage on the front bar. Scathing is a really cool set. It gives us a lot of crit, it gives us a Magicka line, and when we deal direct damage, we have a 20% chance to increase our spell damage by 516 for 5 seconds. And there's basically, it can happen every 5 seconds, so you'll get like 80% uptime or so on this set if you're mostly offensive in a fight. 80 to 90%. Like it's gonna be up when you're doing your burst damage. Like you don't need to worry about you know, like a set like Briarheart or something that has a long cooldown. It's not like that. For my jewelry enchants, I'm running 1 spell damage, 2 Magicka recovery. The Magicka recovery looks a little low but we are Breton, so we have 1619 Magicka recovery, and then we also get our Magicka cost reduction passives from Breton as well. But if that's not enough, feel free to go 1 more Magicka recovery enchant. I just liked having the extra spell damage a bit more. And then last thing, really important part of this build is see, and we have 1816 Magicka recovery on our back bar with the BRP perfected staff. Is this guy. So this gives us major vitality for 3 seconds when we use Healing Ward, which is just really strong, and it synergizes really nicely with rapid regen, which is 5 seconds, and it gives us like really big rapid regen heals. So here we had a crit for like 6200 just now with rapid regen and major vitality. So yeah, 6264, so that'll be like a 3100 heal in Cyrodiil. So we can get some seriously big healing on this build. It's really nice. And then I'm running sorcery draining potions on the front bar, just because I like the extra spell power. They're essentially the mag version of what I run on my stand builds that give me minor brutality on the front bar. But if not, you can run, if you don't want to run those, you can run a shock damage glyph to proc minor vulnerability. Aside from that, if you don't want to run or you don't want to farm Inferno, just run spinners. It's similar damage. It's not quite as high, but it's, you know, it's close. It also gives us a little extra Magicka, which helps our shield, but we have less crit, so we don't do quite as much damage. But you know, with everything procced on this build, and when we're going into our damage and rotations and whatnot, see, so we're getting really good uptime on our Scathing Mage there. So we have 2972 damage with it when everything procs. And that's a pretty good amount of damage, and we have that as well as some recovery. And so we're running this Swift set, which is just super awesome, and it reduces damage taken from players by 10%. So I really like this set on Magicka tunes. It's a lot tankier than you would expect for a Magicka set. Like, it's a lot better than Pariah, honestly. I know a lot of people are in Pariah on Magicka right now. I think this set's better. Aside from that, just gonna go over skills. So Magblade's like really a personal preference class. There's a lot of good skills on Magblade that you can run. So I'm just gonna go over what I've been running for the most part first, and then I'm gonna show you guys what you could sub out. So I'm running Dampen Magic for the shield. It's a nice shield. We have a good amount of Magicka, and we're running some CP points into our shield, buffing CP Bastion. So it's a nice shield. I'm running Mass Hysteria. This is the Morph of Fear that, like, you can run Fear Traps. I just never really got the hang of Fear Traps, and I don't really like them, but I know some of you guys are really good with Fear Traps, and so you can run Fear Traps. That's fine. I just like the Mass Hysteria stun, because if I get someone, I can just lock them down in melee without having to really think about it, and without having to aim something and use it rather than just, you know, using it. Swallow Soul, this is our main spammable. It heals us a little bit. Also synergizes nicely if we pop a Healing Ward and then go offensive, and our Swallow Soul is going to get buffed by the see, like, our Swallow Soul there was hitting for 3200, and I don't even know if that was a crit heal. I don't think it was. So we can get huge heals out of that, which is awesome. Merciless Resolve, this is our main damage tool on Magblade. Basically, if you hit 5 light attacks, lets you shoot a giant spectral bow that does huge fucking damage. Like, probably the hardest hitting skill in the game. So yeah, that's our main burst tool. We also essentially use it as like a pseudo execute on Magblade. You would get it up with your Swallow Souls, and then once your Merciless Resolve's up, you stun them with Mass Hysteria, you use Soul Harvest, and then shoot your bow at them. If you land the combo right, it can be insane damage. Degen, so we're using Degen for major sorcery, just to keep our damage up high. And since we run Degen for major sorcery, we get to run either tripods or spell create immovable pots or spell power pots. We don't need to run spell power pots. I have spell power pots because if you want to run, like, oh fuck, I don't have any still points. Anyways, if you want to run Mage Light, or Inner Light, the morph is called, that gives 4% or extra Magicka, or if you want to run Race Against Time instead of Degen, like, just do that if you really like those skills. Or if you wanted to run, like, siphoning attacks, but then you have to use spell power pots, which I've used spell power pots on Magblade a lot. It's not unreasonable thing to do. I think it's totally fine if you want to play that way. I've just been liking tripods lately for the extra stam, since it gets really laggy in Cyrodiil nowadays. I'm running Soul Harvest. You can run Incap, I guess, for the stun now that it stuns again over 120 ult, but I like the Major Defile from Soul Harvest, and it's just really strong. Back bar, I'm running Healing Ward, Rapid Regen, Debilitate. You can run the Crippling Grass Morph, but I like the Minor Magicka Steel. This is another big sustained tool. It just gives us a ton of Magicka back. and it also gives a pretty big snare. Like, not very many snares are big anymore, but this gives a 50% snare for 4 seconds. And then I'm running Shadowy Disguise. You can run Dark Cloak if you want for the extra heal, but I prefer the mobility that Shadowy Disguise gets me. I know it's really easy to get pulled out of stealth, and it's really easy for like everything to break cloak, but it is what it is. And then Shadow Image. So this is our shade. We use it for mobility, we use it to juke people, we use it to port around, and if we ever end up in a duel, it's super OP because it gets 100% uptime on minor maim. So Shadow Image, if you're Magblade, use it, don't argue. Life Giver is our resto ult, really strong ultimate that gets affected by all of these resto passives that, you know, increase our healing and stuff when we're at low health. Basically just a oh shit button. It casts like every resto skill on it. It does it gives us a shield as well. So just, yeah, resto ult's the best backbar ultimate for Magblade. But if you really like, I don't know, juking people or something, you can run Temporal Guard. If you want even more Magicka recovery, you can run Reviving Barrier, because that'll increase your Magicka from the Magicka aid passive. So like I said before, I am a Breton. I really like Breton on most Magicka classes. I don't really care for the spell damage that other Magicka classes get. I think that Magicka characters as a whole, like their skill tooltips are a little higher, even though they cost more generally, and they also get all that penetration from wearing light armor. So we get like 4800 penetration from wearing light armor. Like, if you got 4800 penetration on a stamina tune for wearing medium armor, like, why would you know, ever consider being an orc? You'd always be a Nord, right? And that's kind of my thought with the Breton on Magblade. And it also just gives us crazy amounts of sustain and some resistance too, which synergizes really nicely with our blessing, or our Buffer of the Swift set. And so we have pretty decent resistances, honestly, for a Magicka tune. Aside from that, I'm running the Mage Mundus. You can run different Munduses, but I like buffing my Magicka because buffing my Magicka buffs my shield as well as my damage, whereas buffing my damage only buffs my damage, if that makes sense. And you can also run the Atronach. Like, if you cannot sustain on a Breton Magblade with 3 Magicka recoveries, like, feel free to use the Atronach as your Mundus and try to, you know, figure out a way to sustain. Basically what I find when I'm learning new classes or something, or playing something I haven't in a while, I just need to play it for a few days to kind of get the hold of how to sustain. And then after that, I can start taking my sustain pieces away and start putting more damage in. Alright, so we'll go into CP. Starting the red tree, I guess. So we're running 61 Ironclad, 52 Resistant, pretty standard basic defensive buffs there. In the lady tree, I'm running 23 in light armor focus to kind of balance out the extra resistances that Breton and wearing light armor gives us in the spell resistance department, so it makes our resistance closer to the same rather than having like 18k physical and 24k spell resistance. I'm only running 26 in thick because when we run stuff in light armor focus on Magicka tunes to get the Unchained passive at 120 points, we don't really need to run a whole lot in this lady tree, so I'm only running 37 Hardy and 37 Ellie for that same reason. But no matter what you do, make sure you get to 120 points in the lady for this Unchained passive. It's really strong. Bastion increases the effectiveness of our damage shields by 14%, so we're running 34 in that. That just buffs both our healing ward and our dampen magic shield. I'm running 1 in Siphoner just for extra debuffs on the enemy. If they're a Necro or a Templar or someone using a Purge, Siphoner will just put some debuffs on them to take up extra slots so they can't purge actual debuffs you want on them. Warlord I'm only running 44 at Warlord, and I'm only running 21 in Sprinter because I'm running 120 in the tower for wind running, and I'm running 35 in Befoul to buff my Soul Harvest Major Defile that it puts out, and then 25 in Tenacity, 64 Arcanist, 32 Mooncalf. Make sure you get to at least 120 in the Lover Tree so you get the Wind Ring passive. I'm also running 48 in Tumbling. And the blue tree, I am running 19 into Blessed. We have a lot of healing buffs on this build. We have a lot of different heals. So I am running some points into Blessed to buff that. I'm running 56 in Elfborn, 56 Ellie, 36 into Spell Erosion, and then 72 Mastered Arms, 11 in Staff Expert. Your light attacks do a ton of damage on this build. So, and they're not changing the light attacks to how it is on the PTS right now. So you definitely still want to run that. And then I'm just running 20 in Thawm to buff my Debilitating Grasp. So, or Debilitate, I guess it's called. Anyways, so that's the build. Like I said, Magblade is just one of those classes where there's a lot of personal preference involved. So don't flame me if you run something different. Don't tell me what I should run. Just let me know what you guys like about the build in the comments, and what you think. And I hope that it works well for you. It's if you can get the hang of it, Magblade is a very fun solo class, and it's a very good solo class. Like, it's not the best solo class, but it can definitely do work, and I think people don't give it enough credit. It's still a really strong class and has really strong combos. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for all the support. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Feel free to join that Discord if you want to talk more theory crafting, or if you guys need any pointers or anything like that. See you next time.